the intention of watching the first episode. Didn't get around to it. What did we talk about?
Oh, who knows?
That was when we were setting up for Sample Triad, and we snuck away to record a podcast.
The backyard, right?
Yeah, Friday evening. The sun was setting on us.
Yeah.
There's I think there was a change in the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was still early on in our podcasts.
Yeah,
so
super
I think it
early.
was. I'm gonna look this up because this.
The equipment was definitely not like this.
We
Kind of
I
professional.
mean, these
stuff.
headphones are like next level.
Yeah.
They're super comfortable.
Yeah.
Ryan picked out all the stuff.
You did.
Hey, man.
But we've learned some different settings on the camera and things to just little things that we can do to make things better. It's always we record. Ryan gives us some things that we could have done better, and we try and remember to do those next time.
Because you were are we figuring out what episode he was?
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Because he's currently episode 69. Let's go.
He said it was episode 7. The
yes,
the OG one.
It is episode 7.
A game changer, I think, is having dual camera or multiple angles.
Yeah,
because then it helps you with your shorts, right? Because you can, if I had one on that side, it can focus on me, and then you can cut that, make it a short, and a big thing for our podcast is all right, so if we have a guest, okay, we're not paying you to be here, right? This is mutually beneficial,
right?
But what we, and I try to tell Aaron, hey, you need to have they need to have at least, it took forever to get yours, but we need to have before, once it gets edited, you need to pull 2 30 to 60 second highlights for that person so that they can put on their own,
so they have their own content
for their own social.
Right.
Yeah, that was nice. Joining your guys' podcast, and then you guys sent over a bunch of shorts and content for me to post. It all looked really good, and the multiple cameras looked really, really good as well.
I think something we want to get to is multiple.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I don't know if we're live or what, but you guys do. You're on Spotify. Yep. Are you on all the things? Mm-hmm. So YouTube.
Yep.
So but so when you're watching it, not just listening to it, it's more, you're engaged, right? Because it's
part of the conversation a little more.
Switch.
Yeah.
Now it is more edit, so it does. For Ryan, it'll take a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's not like editing an intense video, overlaying music, getting everything to align. You just gotta.
I think he uses a lot of programs that use a lot of AI stuff too.
I know, because Ryan was on that trip with us, and he got to watch kind of the podcast setup and see all the cameras and whatnot. And I can't remember if it was that one but I remember talking, to him about their software that you can have, you can import multiple recordings, and there's software that it'll automatically adjust to the camera angle if one person is talking or if everybody's talking.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Which is that would be a tough task to do manually.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah. That would take a while.
I think Aaron is starting to. He's been pushed to discover AI better. We're starting to utilize it a little bit more.
We've always been, I feel really big. I think Kevin and I have a very similar thought process on this. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard you say most of this is we're very you hear a lot of times people's jobs are going to be taken from this. And for us, it's we have found taking advantage of using AI with the mundane tasks or things that are, a little bit that would just be really time consuming for just the fact of it's just a lot. I know you got to look a little bit over the modules and stuff that I've made for our customer interaction training stuff. And literally I made it was probably it's a pretty long Word document, but it was just mostly just thoughts. Okay, this is it. Okay, here's our eval. Here's the questions of the eval. this is what I think is important about question 1. This is what I think is important about question 2. And then I literally uploaded that document into ChatGPT and was like, make this look pretty, like make this look nice and like structure it in a way that makes sense. And then it spit me something back and I was like, I like this, but I don't like that. And it's like, okay, cool. And then it like spits me out another one. And I did that like 3 or 4 times and it like fully edited all my grammar, placed everything in the way that I wanted.
There's part of it that is, it's only as good as you are,
right?
In a way,
right?
Like you have to the prompts are everything,
right? Like if you can use it as a tool, it can be. It took me like what would have taken me probably a week took me like 3 days, to do it.
I don't use it that often. I'm the last to do stuff like that.
I usually am as well.
Yeah, there's a chip on the shoulder or like whatever it is that, and for my day to day, at least up to today, I don't feel like I necessarily need it. But like in write-ups or when you're doing a lot of writing or things like the creating programs or stuff like that, like it can be super super time Sam saving. Just went full-time mom, but she's got a side business of bookkeeping, online bookkeeping. She worked on her contract. AI helped her out. Right? Like, so like,
you gotta fact check it a little bit. Cause like, I know I've like, there's even some like basic like math questions that I've asked it and it's like, it's given me a couple of different answers. So, but
we had a funny one yesterday. We can't mention it specifically, but we had a funny one yesterday of like, would this be a copyright issue? And it was like, yeah, that one would. But if you named it this and it was like, almost identical to the name of the product, you should be fine. And we're like, that can't be right.
we asked it because we use it kind of like Google a little bit as well. And we asked it because we're bringing in some Kratom drinks, and it was funny. I think Preston, because we're learning about Kratom ourselves, and we were like, do you have to be a certain age to buy Kratom? And Preston did it on ChatGPT. It's like, nope, don't have it, all good. And we're like, let's double check this really quick. Cause I think I looked up something on Google and it was like, Oklahoma law states that you have to be 18 years old. It's like, ChatGPT tried to set us up on that one.
So you have to be super specific.
Yeah. And I think that specifically is state dependent. Like it changes.
Right. Yeah. But I think we asked it in Oklahoma too. Right. So, and it was like,
ChatGPT, you're setting us up a couple times, you sly bastard.
But I think it's like, I'm very much like you, where I think that like that new like high techy stuff is like everyone gets really excited about and tries to do just the most with it. It seems like, and I'm usually like I don't really know how to, like, it's cool and I'm sure it will be applied a lot, but I struggle sometimes to figure out where. And then I remember I think it was just an ad for a different AI software app that was explaining that it was like, the software itself, the intelligence itself is very complex, obviously. So people have this automatic idea of I have to do the most complex projects or tasks with it, when in reality its capabilities are still not crazy high. Like it's not going to be able to do something that's beyond our comprehending. Use it for the basic stuff. Use it for your scheduling, for writing up different contracts that you need. Use it. Like I said before, we're kind of using it a little bit in lieu of Google. Where it can answer a little bit more in depth or specific things for us. And my thing is, I'm getting really excited. I use it a little bit myself, but I'm getting really excited to see like Thomas and Preston and Ryan uses it a bunch. Like he's gotten very familiar with it. It's a tool. You have to learn how to use it.
You got to learn it.
And in my opinion is that I do think there will be a lot of jobs that are lost because of AI, especially because as it continues to develop. The people that will keep their jobs are the people that learn how to use it and don't fight it
and use it as like it's a huge efficiency thing for me. Like it'll knock like hours off of a project for me by just like literally, like Kevin said, like just simple things like, hey, structure this in a way that makes sense. Like I'll literally use that as a prompt and upload a Word document and it'll like restructure like my like order of how I'm doing things. And I'm like, oh yeah, that does make more sense. Cool. And even if it's just like, sometimes I don't even use it. It just like kickstarts my brain into, oh, that is how this should look. And then I can kind of start to work on it from there.
The job thing, it'll level out, right? Like it's a change in technology, it's a change in time, right? Like, you know, we're not going to get political, but like there's a whole the Doge thing, right? Like you know, and it's efficiency, right? Like they're realizing, hey, there's a bunch of jobs where like that are just people are just milking this system, right? And so I think it's kind of like that. Like I think there's some jobs out there that they're probably getting milked, and it's just like
For sure.
there's a technology out there that's quickly proving that it can be better than that person that's milking that job, right?
That has to be paid a salary.
Right. So I think that, and what my point is, I think it'll kind of balance and even out. I think there's going to be in the future, which is weird to think, but I think there's going to be in the technology boom, a lot of jobs. We lost a lot of laborish type jobs, right? Like a lot of steel industry and all these other industries. Kind of like those types of towns started going down because tech was coming up, right? And like jobs flooded the tech market. So now we're like super techie, and now we have AI doing a lot of this techie stuff. Well, I think there's going to be a boom back the other way where like there's going to be more like labor intensive trade jobs, right? You're not going to need a 4-year, 6-year degree.
Right.
You're going to just go like 1-2 year of a trade certs type school because there's going to be it's just shifts, right? And so, yeah.
Sound like Mike Rowe over there.
Mike Rowe? Yeah. I do not have Mike Rowe's voice.
Maybe not the voice, but the...
Yeah, I think there's going to be a shift. Like I was getting my teeth cleaned the other day, and the hygienist was telling me about her son going to like diesel mechanic school, and Cat was paying him to go through all that process, and he's got a nice gig right out of high school going to work for Cat.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds pretty cool to me.
No, for sure. Well, like you see, like, dude, like a good welder makes like 100+ K a year, like no problem.
And and they can charge what they want to charge because there's not a lot of options.
That's what I was
And when your excavator goes down on a job site and you need a welder, it's $400 an hour, brother.
Right.
Do we think that's primarily because of scarcity or just or other reasons?
I think scarcity is a result of it being like, I guess, difficult or like not as sought out after.
I mean,
right?
I don't know how you guys necessarily grew up, but like I grew up, my parents telling me, you know, watching like houses getting built or watching construction workers and like, hey, this is why you go to school so you can work in the AC and get paid well. And it's like, it seems like they're getting paid a little bit better than the office workers these days.
It's really interesting too, because you look at this like dynamic that I think we're finally starting to see the shift of this too, where it was like, if you go back, you know, a couple generations, like you look at our grandparents, where it was like our grandparents saw the people who, you know, I'm going to be dramatic here, but it's like,
Thomas dramatic.
The really? Group of people that went and worked in the mines, and then like the group of people who like went to college and then had like a, you know, like a white collar job kind of thing. And you saw the like, okay, so that got very invested into our parents from our grandparents of like, hey, if you want to be successful, if you want this, you've got to go to college because that's the path and that's where the split happens. And then what happens is you have our parents' generation where like a lot of them went to college. Well, then what ended up happening was then college wasn't enough. Like your first, like a bachelor's degree wasn't enough. So then I feel like our generation very much got talked into master's degrees, doctorates, whatever, like continued education that happened after just like basic college. And then, you know, say what you want about like college and cost and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like that got beaten so much that, and maybe this is just because of my own like life experiences and stuff like that too. But as somebody who doesn't have a college degree, everybody has a college degree, right? And so I always felt like that was just a wash. Like nobody cared anymore about having a college degree or not. I'm sure there's jobs that like I would have never even had the opportunity to, but I always look back to like the hospital, where my position at the hospital, let alone the position above that they were offering me, my position at the hospital like required an MBA. I don't have a bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? And it was because, you know, they wanted good employees. And I remember talking to like, because I ran patient transport, I remember talking to the president of patient transport had come to visit us, and like I'd met him a number of times and was talking to him and was like, hey, you know, like if I'm going to continue down this path, like I want to be a regional director, I want to be a VP, like will me not having a college degree hold me back from that? Like being just very straight up with him. And he was kind of like, you keep performing like you do. I don't care if you don't have a high school education. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? And so I think we started to see like everybody's got a college degree, but maybe nobody has, or maybe there's less of a work ethic, or like people who are really working hard. And I don't know what that is, because like I think that comes from a lot of different things, but you also have a society for the first time, I think, in our generation that, and this is no knock on those people, because I know a ton of them that are like this, that are insanely hardworking and super successful. But for the first time in like American history, do we have a 27-year-old getting their first job?
Yeah.
Like I don't have my first job until I have my master's degree, or like I'm done with law school, or like one of those where it's like I've literally never had a job and I'm 27, 28 years old. And then you get thrusted into this like market of, you know, jobs that are like high demand, and, you know, that's a hard transition, I feel like.
You know what it's like to go to school, but you don't necessarily know just even some of the basic intricacies of work.
Right. Versus like, you know, I've had a job since I was 14. And so it's like, not to say that, you know, it's done anything, but like, I know what it's like to work.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's like a really interesting dynamic that has kind of happened with that, of like, I think
there's, I think going back to, I think it's a shift, right? Like, and I think that happens in history a lot. Like, you know, we start going in a direction, we've gone too far, let's dial it back. I mean, yeah, back even on the political side, like we go over here, then we go back on this side, then we go back on this side. This is kind of like natural, you know, like, and then one thing that I'm pretty passionate about, and you're talking not having a job until you're 27, not to mention the debt that person is in, right? And like, you are so behind in your life at 27-year-old, because your sole focus was told to go to school, do this, and like all you know is studying.
Right.
All you know is a book, right? You don't know life. And at the same time, you've been paying you're in loans to be able to do this, and you are in such a hole, and you don't ever get out of it, right?
Yeah.
And then now insert depression, insert all these other things that happen, right? And like, it's just so needless to say, like not to say that school isn't necessary you know, but it's proving that you can get in the workplace and just start learning, and you don't necessarily need that degree. Like I have a sport and recreation degree. Like I learned some stuff, and like I'm happen to be in a sport and recreation industry in a way.
Right.
But like, I just got myself there, and I just worked, and I showed that I'm good at it.
Well, that's the same for me. Like, I don't have a degree, but I am unbelievably grateful for my college experience. Like, I went to college, I just never graduated. That is like a reason why I'm here and we're here, is
Helped
because of that.
Figure out where
100%.
you wanted to go in life.
Right.
That's same for me.
Right.
Well, and I think having that mindset too, that like I am where I am today, and like I don't regret the things is everything.
Right.
Like you got to have that mindset. Right. Not regret, like, oh man, like I wasted my 4 years. No, I learned. I grew. Like part of getting older is like
I went
getting wiser.
5 and no degree.
What a guy! That's something to be proud of.
Tell you what, I feel proud of it.
I started in business, and then I chose sport and rec because it came with a business minor, because of management type stuff. But I wish, because I wanted to finish in 4. Like I thought that was like what I'm supposed to do. Right. Like, so I didn't like the business side. like going into the business hall just, stressed me out. Didn't really enjoy it. So, but then I'm passionate about bodybuilding and the gym. And so, okay, sport and rec starts to make sense. But hindsight, I think I might have wanted to pursue like specifically kinesiology or something a little bit more around the body. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Right. Like I was just going to make my own path anyway.
Doug is holding you back because you don't have that kin degree.
Hold me back. Like I could be a PT now. We opened up a PT physical therapy studio.
Well, you're just a
therapist.
Bum VP.
Just a bum.
Could have been a PT, just a bum old VP now. Yeah. Speaking of which, we should probably introduce you again. I think people probably know who you are, but welcome to the podcast. We have Patrick Mabe here, good friend of ours, friend for a long time now. This is came to town to visit and hang out. Patrick is the vice president of Crush It Brands. Is that the correct way to phrase that?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us all the brands under Crush It. Obviously, Core is a big one, but you guys have 3 other brands under there too that that we love and big supporters of.
Yeah. So, quick story. I've been with Core Nutritionals, Crush It Brands, the Nutrition Corners. We have a lot going on for 10 years. When I started, we had 3 retail stores and Core Nutritionals. And I was the online fulfillment for Core Nutritionals. I would take the product off the shelf, take the sticker off, take it out with a number 3 report, and then take it to the USPS. Then Carl was the wholesale manager, and he would go into the office that we had at the time and fulfill bodybuilding.com, Cape Cod Nutrition Corner, maybe Triad at that point. It was 2015, not quite yet. So then fast forward, we grew retail stores. We grew, Core Nutritional started growing. We started having bigger warehouses. Opportunities are created. And so we were like, you know what? We can create another brand because we sell a lot in a retail store and people are buying this, marketing driven stuff, and like we can do it better. So America Labs came along. At this point, 7-ish stores we have. And then now opportunities are created and people are coming to us hey, like I'm an influencer. I have a big following. I've been an athlete here, an athlete there. I want my own brand. Well, hey, how about we do it together? We'll operate it. You be the face. It's your brand, but like we're partnered. And so Arms Race Nutrition came around. Then we did America Energy. We did an energy drink. And then, opportunities keep creating, right? So now we have
America Energy.
I know we were talking about it yesterday.
No, it got me.
The young kids don't know, dude.
That cream soda, man.
Everybody has their flavor. Like cream soda, some brands have done some cream soda, but it's just not. No, it's not Victory.
It's not Victory.
And then
so good.
I was a big Alpine Pew Pew fan.
Make America Grape again.
Anthony loved his grape.
I loved the grape one too.
Yeah, so they're all good. The apple was good. So
they were all good.
Maybe one day. So America Energy is not around anymore. We didn't do that. We now have, but today Crush It Brands is Core Nutritionals, America Labs, Unmatched Nutrition, which is Chris Gethin's brand, and MyoBlocks. So the only partnership brand that we have right now is Unmatched. Arms Race, we just let Julian and Casey run with the brand, and so they now operate it. We got 10 retail stores, 2 gyms. Crush It Coliseum is a big part of what we do now.
Gyms are killing it, right?
Gyms are fun. It's cool. It's another part of it's retail, right? It's customer facing, it's service based, but it's different. You're not selling a physical product, you're selling a service that you just need to maintain, and so it's cool. And Doug's, it's his passion, right? I mean, there was a moment where he potentially would not open it up to the public because I'm training here every day. I don't want this to become like a riffraff gym or people getting out. I want to, and it quickly realized no, this is what we need for our community.
It's very, very cool gyms. I got to work out at both of them when we were there last year. And I would have a membership there in a heartbeat.
I've never been invited. So,
well,
the invite's always there, brother. You know that. And then we open up physical. So we have Crush It Athletics and physical therapy. So we got a lot of branches going on.
And you've got some ownership in the physical therapy, right?
Yeah, I'm a small partner in that. So I'm a washed up bodybuilder. Had a 10-year run, like competing, and injuries are just started happening. So I've been through some physical therapy. I've seen some bad, I've seen some good. I learned what was good, what I liked, what worked for me. And so Doug and I both were seeing Connor Burke at a competitor now. And, just going to see physical therapy, telling them what we got going on.
Right.
Conversations happen. You're always planting seeds. You're always sowing. It's kind of like part of what, why I'm a VP, right? Like, I think that's a role that somebody should have in leadership, right? Like, you should always be planting seeds. And yeah, he wasn't happy at where he was, and he wanted to do his own thing. And we're like, well, why don't we do it together? And you run it, you be the face, but we'll help
handle the business.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not money bags and I'm not physical therapist. For me, I'm liaison, right? So like, hey, you're coming into our brands, Crush It Athletics. Let me be what you need for the brand, like to help, mold this thing hold together. So I'm a support character, my physical therapy appointments every week are business meetings. Like it's
kind of cool.
Yeah. It's like Connor gets to run things by me. We get to talk. I'm like his board,
That's awesome.
Kind of get to help bridge the gap between him being just a good physical therapist and making it a successful business.
Yeah. Like I'm realizing now, so like you mentioned I'm vice president. So I've been retail manager, regional manager, then sales director, and then VP of sales. And then, so now it's vice president. And so it's weird, and the titles are weird, and I don't like them that much because I just like to work, right? But like I'm realizing now, one of my main jobs is to uphold Crush It, uphold the culture, uphold the standards. And so I think that's kind of my role in that job, in that business, is like, hey, we got to uphold. Now it's different. Crush It Athletics and physical therapy is becoming its own, right? It has to have its own. It can't just be core nutritionals, right? But there's certain values that we have within our company that are spread across all of our businesses. And so one of my roles is to bleed it, and to vomit it and to get it, make sure that we're doing, this is who we are. Let's not waver from all that.
I'm sure that could become a full-time job, and a worthwhile full-time job the more you guys grow.
Yeah, I've gotten better at it, and it's been really healthy for me because things are chaotic. You got a big task. Like my list is never ending, right? And I've realized it never ends. So like I've gotten better about like things have to go to tomorrow. That's just has to be what it is. So I'll be walking around the warehouse. I'll be in the gym, and then shout out Matt Skirky. He'll always do this. He's at Mooresville a lot, not at the Statesville gym where we HQ is. And I'll be walking. And he's like, "Hey, you got a minute?" I'm like, "Yep, I got a minute, Matt." And so like, I need to stop, and it's not a minute; it's 30 minutes.
Right.
It's 45 minutes. It's an hour. And it, my tasks continue to pile up, but my most important task is being there for our team, right, and making sure that everybody's good, right? Like,
we had a guy on, Derek. Shout out Derek, Geigus, who was on not too long ago. Owns a gym, is his main thing, but he also has some like rentals, does some real estate stuff. But he said something, and he might have been, I think he was quoting somebody, but it was something that has like stuck with me for a while, and I'll probably misquote it a little bit, but the idea, it was like, he said, it was like community and culture eats planning for breakfast.
Strategy
for breakfast. Yeah. It's like
say it again.
So community and culture eat strategy for breakfast. And it's like, it's so true. Like you can have all the strategy and all the planning, and you're going to come
Those
here and go
important.
there. And yeah, and that's like you have this whole roadmap, but if nobody's excited or nobody cares, none of it matters. Right. And it's like, you can actually, I feel like, have less of a plan, but a whole bunch of people who just genuinely give a shit about the company or about, whether it's customers or like employees, but employees specifically in this situation is like, if you just have employees who care and have like your brand or Triad or whatever it is as like, hey, when I'm here, this is the most important thing, and I want to represent it the right way. Like the polo never comes off. Like I always want to be a good representation of this, and I always want to be like zero malice in my heart, pushing things in the right direction. It's like a lot of good things just happen on their own too.
Yeah.
And so that is a super cool thing that like
it's everything, right? Like we talked about it yesterday. I mean, shoot, you could have had a camera in our car yesterday. You can have you can have a killer salesperson. They are $100 average ticket. Like they are just slinging, but they're a crappy human.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're selling stacks to people they shouldn't be selling to. They're,
Right. The classic weight gainer thermostack.
Yeah, whatever it is, right? Like you're not selling towards the goals, you're not serving the person, right? And that's a disservice to the person, which is the most important thing, the customer, the client that you have coming in, but it's a disservice to your culture, your company,
right?
Right. So at the end of the day, there's a ton of products in the industry. They can sit here and on a label they might read differently, but like they're pretty much achieving the same thing, right? So what are they really buying, right? They're buying because there's a belief that they connect. There's a connection. They believe in what that stands for. They thoroughly enjoy. I want to support, right? And so that is what is everything, right? And so it starts within the heart, the pulse of the culture, and you gotta nurture it, you gotta feed it, like it's everything.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Right.
It's cool to even just take a second that there are enough good brands out there to be and good formulas out there today, which didn't always used to be the case.
It's super saturated.
Yeah. But it's cool to be able to throw a rock in a supplement store or at least in a Triad, and where we definitely, there's some popular brands that they're popular, but maybe not the greatest on quality still today a little bit.
Name them.
Yeah. You can throw a rock and you've got a 90% chance of hitting a good product, where that didn't always used to be the case. Like if you were to throw a rock at the supplement industry, 10, 20 years ago, it's like you got maybe more of like a 30% chance.
Right.
So,
And that's come with education and just, like people are more knowledgeable. We have more access, so like if you want to play in the space, you actually really do need to, and it's really not hard to find what works and what's good, right? Like everybody's got non-proprietary blends now. Like it's pretty easy to go and like look at somebody else's products and say, well, that sells well, that tastes good. Yeah, I want to do a pre-workout. I think I'll just do that, but like tweak it here and tweak it there, and like you got yourself a decent product.
you got a whole brand.
But like again, what goes? Why are like, especially as a retail store, and you're bringing in new brands, you get a sales rep that's calling you. Well, like, why should it's like, yeah, your product looks good. It looks good on paper. Probably tastes good. But like, what's the why? Right? Like, why are we getting?
What am I going to tell my employees as to why this should be something that is recommended?
Right. So yeah, so that's kind of been like, and I'm in discovery still. It's been like, I guess 6 months now that I've carried this role, and so I've always done it, but now I'm like, I've told Doug a lot, like, dude, I'm super thankful for this, and it's starting to make sense, and like, so I'm still in the weeds of a lot of things, right? Like that's will always be there, but trying to get some of those tasks off of my plate. Like I don't have that many accounts anymore, so you guys are lucky. JD does help me. Shout out JD, but
Yeah.
We're still a Patty account.
yeah,
One of the few.
that's right. Yeah, it all started in 2017, and I slept on your couch.
Yeah.
We were playing. We were drinking bad beers and cheap pizza.
That's
eating
right.
Cheap pizza after a sample Triad.
This will be, I think, a little bit of a funny story. When you first stepped into the role and were a rep for Core Nutritionals, and we were just one humble store. I say humble by meaning that we weren't making any money, and
Nobody else did. I didn't know that though. Nobody,
Yeah.
You guys were the only one that were fully aware of that.
Yeah.
We were paying our bills. We were paying our orders.
That's true.
We ordered pizza.
That's right.
That's true.
We had expired beer from the liquor store I was working at.
We, gosh, I remember when it was like one of our first orders with you, and we order, the way we order is just, we order what we need. We're not typically ordering a whole lot of case quantities. We're not, bulk ordering to meet minimums. It's like restock to make sure, like that's our priority, is to restock to make sure that we have what we need for our customers. And then second priority is make our margins better. So, and I remember we ordered, some flavors of ABC, and we were missing one flavor. It was like we were missing one flavor. I can't remember what it was. And then we got another, like one too many on like the lemonade flavor or the lemon drop flavor, whatever it was at the time. And I remember like reaching out to you of like, hey, we got one extra of this and we're missing that. Can I return this single tub of lemon and get this other tub? And I remember talking to you about it, and you were like, man, that you were trying to be as nice as possible. And I think I would be in the same boat as you, but you were like, that's a lot of work for one tub, man. Like you're kind of asking for a lot. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, this is like your mistake. So like, and I think I was like, probably a little bit too prideful at the time to tell you like, hey, like I don't have the money to order to have a tub that we don't need, like another unit that we don't need. And like, we're missing this one. And what if a customer comes in and needs this one kind of deal? And I think we have eventually ended up landing on like, all right, we'll just throw this one on and we'll open this one for samples and you guys will cover it or something along those lines. But I remember it was like one of our first interactions, man, was like me trying to like push to get a single tub returned.
Man, that's the first time you shared that story, and I feel a little self-conscious about how I handled that.
I'm self-conscious about the interaction.
Like what I should have done, young Patrick. Hey, Kevin, that's our mistake. Keep the tub for samples, because what I was probably saying was like, bro, it's going to cost me $15 to ship that one. All right, so I lost money on that one, and then it's going to cost me $15 more to send this one out there. So why don't you just keep that one, and we'll put it on the next order. I hope I handled it right. I'm a little self-conscious.
I think we were both.
Sure,
I think you were new in the role. I think I had recently taken over ordering, and we were both like we don't want to be rude, but it's like, hey man, like we kind of need this, and you were like, hey dude, that's a lot. So there was like there's like a little bit of tension with it.
The funny thing is like I'm listening to this for the first time, which is great. What am I trying to say? I blame Doug.
Yeah, I blame Vincent.
I blame Doug. Like there's so he jokes all the time because like somebody gets hurt, because I notoriously blame Doug for my bad back. Just trying to keep up with him, and it happened when we were training at the Arnold or something. But like I just throw him under the bus all the time. I blame Doug. Doug's in the back of my head like, you returned something we lost money, on the shipping cost,
And I had Vincent in my ear. Like, I'm like reaching out to Vincent. I'm like, hey dude, like, what do you think I should do about this? Like I don't want to, maybe it's not a lot, but like, man, we kind of like that kind of messes with us a little bit and our ability to, provide the variety that we want. And he was like, no, that's their mistake. They should pay for it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and that's a good learning experience for like a young sales guy. It's like, no, like and you guys had to return 6 core iso chocolate peanut butter the other day.
Oh, well, I saw the text, but
and you had, or it was 4, but anyways, but at the end of the day, you had to take care of your customer, right? Like, so me, it's like, okay, don't react. Don't say the thing that you're feeling, and don't let it
Bite
out
your
that
tongue.
you're like, this shipping this is stupid. We're gonna lose money. But like, no, okay, yeah, you're right. I'll take care of it. That's it. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. It's like,
Yep.
I'll take care of it.
Hey, I got you.
I got you.
Here's what we're gonna do.
I like it. Yep. Yeah, it's funny.
I think
I didn't know where you're going with that. You were cooking that story for a little while. I was like, man, I've never heard this. Getting nervous. I'm nervous.
Yeah. I think you being a little understandably wanting to save money. I think how we originally got introduced to core by stealing a bunch of samples that were meant for somebody else. I think we probably earned you owed us one.
Yeah,
so
no, I definitely owed you one. Yeah, collect the gold dust is one of our core values, and it doesn't mean be cheap, right? But it's like mistakes of not thinking about that shipping cost,
right?
If you just mindlessly do that all the time, then that dust collects into a brick, and now I ordered at Arlington Nutrition Corner, had a rep call me, hey, you guys, and I'm new, like I'm months in, right? Like I don't know, right? Like I'm learning things on the fly. Hey, you guys order this about every so often, it's receipt paper. I'm like, receipt paper? I was thinking printer paper for my Zebra label maker for core labels. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm out. I need that. Like, yeah, go ahead and ship me some, right? So this big box of receipt printer paper that lasts you 5 years shows up at Arlington Nutrition Corner. And Doug's like, what is this? I'm like, well, they called me and like, I needed labeled printer paper, and I thought that's what she was talking about. And I'm, running around the store like a crazy person. And I said yes, and it ended up being receipt paper, and we don't really need it. And he was like, "This is how small businesses fail."
You are the reason.
It's like a joke that we run with all the time now. It's like everybody has their like overspend story, and mine was like months in on receipt printer paper.
Right.
Doug, but it was like that
Guys are still working through that box.
Collect the gold dust mentality. And I was like, this shipping cost is this is not collecting the gold dust here. But in reality, be a servant is also a core value, right? And like, I didn't need to do anything there, but just be a servant.
And it's, how do you do both?
Yeah.
Or where's the line?
Well, I think you've made up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you've,
Thanks.
I think you've done all right with us.
Yeah. So now, 2017, we slept on the couch, and then now here we are. You guys are going on the 4th store, and
you get to check out the 4th store. What do we think?
I love it. Looks like a triad, And
It's
and that means a lot, right? Like you want consistency, right? Like you want the more you grow your stores, right? Like we're moving one store right now, just down the block for lease type things and trying something, but we're at a point, going on 2010, so 15 years of Nutrition Corners. Maybe we can like refresh a little bit. Let's try something a little bit different. So we're at a point where like, it'll still be a Nutrition Corner and you will know that, but the flooring is a little bit different this time. The shelving is the same, but we're starting to do a little bit of tweaks. But it's important that if somebody walks into your store in Northern Virginia and then they go to Virginia Beach in Southern Virginia, they get the same experience, right?
Updated, but similar enough that it's recognizable.
Yeah.
Right.
We even do the same, like as best as we can, like the same layout. So it's like you walk into any triad, it's like, where the isolate proteins are, it should be pretty straightforward of like, I know where to go and get my stuff. Even if I'm at a store I've never been to, it's all the same.
Think about the biggest box that you can think of. That's how it works.
Right.
You go into a Walmart for pretty much it's going to be laid out pretty similarly, right?
Yeah.
The looks are the same.
Yep.
And
you walk in, you go left for food, right for everything else.
From the smallest retail to the largest retail. Like you want a name, you want a brand, you got to have consistency. Right?
Yeah.
So super excited. I mean, you guys continue to take over the town, so I'm excited to see how many you can fit in this area. That'll be the fun part.
I think quite a few.
I think 7.
Yeah.
7 if you include Stillwater, which maybe we're getting a little overly confident, but I don't think so.
I think if you just were to map it, right? Like if you were just like not saying that these would be places we'd put one, but just like the map being like Stillwater to Norman, Yukon to Shawnee kind of thing. Like I think we could do like 7 or 8.
Yeah, if you include that far east and west, I think you could. Yeah, I think at least 8, maybe 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I was talking with you yesterday, it's like, and you don't have to get into it if you don't want to, but I feel like you guys just let things air here. But it's like, what have you guys talked about other branches? So I just mentioned retail, brands, you include beverage, like different avenues of business, right? You have gyms now, physical therapy. We're going to get into athletics. Maybe there's Crush It Wellness, which is hormone therapy, IV therapy. Certain parts of services will fall under some of the business, but we're going to offer like cold plunge, red light therapy, sauna under the athletics, probably the Crush It Athletics or Crush It Wellness avenue. But like, do you guys talk about like other branches? So like when you get to, right now you're still building your stores, still building your brand, but is there other passion plays that could feed into this where, because if we hit 7, we might have tapped out the OKC area, unless you turn into a Dollar General, which we looked up yesterday, and you can find one on every corner.
Right.
What are some other passion avenues that do you guys talk about that?
Yeah, man, I think to really relate it to you guys and how, at least like the physical therapy side of things, where it sounds like you found the person and then the business sprouted from that. I think if we are to get into other areas, it would probably be because we find the right people for the right businesses.
Amen.
I've learned that I enjoy business overall, and I think you could probably apply it to a lot of other industries, where, not to say that I would be good at any other industry, but I think there'd be a little bit of overlap, and I'd like to learn those other industries, but would need someone that is interested enough in the day-to-day of another avenue. And I think that would be a big goal, is to get some opportunities to some other people, and be part of that. And it depends on what they enjoy.
I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like if you asked Doug 5 years ago, would you have opened a physical therapy office? Why would I do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're 100% right. Right. It's like, it's that sower though. It's like you're always in the community. You're always, talking, you're always serving, and you never know what opportunity is going to present itself. And if you're in a good position to be able to do that, right? Like, hey, let's create an opportunity for it. You have a golden handcuff at a let's call it a corporate physical therapy, and you're miserable. How about we give you an opportunity to be an owner of your own physical therapy, of your own path, of your own career? How you can create, all these things that you don't like, these methods, because there's somebody else's, and you have this entrepreneur, spirit, and we can help you. Like, let's why not?
I think the coolest thing about that as well, and how you guys do it, is that again, he doesn't have to get necessarily bogged down with learning how to be a business owner, because that can so easily take over him being a physical therapist, which is, I assume, what his initial or original passion is.
Right.
Is that you get bogged down by trying to figure out how to do your finances, or how to do your marketing. And it's like, okay, now I have to learn how to be a CPA. I have to get a master's in marketing to figure out how to grow my business. I have to learn how to, I guess, physical therapy, not dealing with really much inventory, but you have to learn all these other.
You have to buy supplies. Like if you're doing dry needling, like you have to, like, a lot of equipment for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then, well, the big thing too with that though is, like, when you start this business, it's just you.
Right.
So like, Doug's doing things, I'm doing some things, but mostly it's you, right? And so if you didn't have the support, it would just be you anyway. So the billing, the scheduling. So the billing is the big thing, right? Like say, so we do insurance, we do cash and insurance. We're trying to move more towards cash, just because, like, insurance companies, it's a rigmarole.
It's brutal.
And like, now with some new policies from certain insurance agencies, like, you're not getting approvals for some things anymore. Or it's like every certain amount of visits, you have to get like a reapproval to get more visits, and it's
They
just
really
a constant,
control a lot of the treatment. Like
Right.
it really is
so
brutal.
it bogs down the most important thing, which is treating, right?
Right.
And doing so. It's like, he runs like mostly he runs like, it's not 4 10s, but he's open 10 hours of the day with an hour in the middle for maybe 2 hours in the middle of the day to have time off, to work out, to take lunch, whatever, go out in the community. But then his Fridays are like half days. But then you get home, it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I got to do billing.
Right.
So now, but that's what it takes when you start a business at the same time. So now we're in a position, we've hired a second physical therapist at our one location. We're opening up location number 2. We have a third physical therapist that's signed that will start at I think June. And then we hired a scheduler and a biller to take that role off of all this plate. So now we can grow, we can push, right? Like the most important thing is for him is to make sure all the things that he's creating, the processes to have employees is put into place, that we're treating a specific way. This is what makes us special. So you have to treat this way. I have to now train that. So I am going to start treating less, because now my responsibility is, say mine, going and pouring into the heartbeat of the business.
Yeah.
Right?
Which in most people, and I don't know him specifically, but it could have taken him 5 years longer if he didn't have you guys to learn those things.
Yeah.
I would say too, like the other aspect of like, if we're talking about things outside of like maybe a side thing that's a little bit different, is I think for us, I think it aligns obviously with like Tried and Defined quite a bit, but I think us just getting out into the community more, whether that's, I don't know, like a nonprofit or just something where we're like serving the community in like more unique and like bigger and bigger ways. I think that's a big goal for ours too. Like we've always been very, like community service driven, like in the sense of like we have like fundraiser shirts that we've been doing for years and we're always donating. But it being something that like, hey, we physically get out and like help. So that's been something that like we've implemented this last year. Like this year is like doing a quarterly community service event where we as a team, as many of us that can go, like we schedule a community service event to go out and actually get out in the community and just do something, whatever it is. And we've been really blessed that a lot of times we've been given opportunities from customers or people that we've known for a long time that allow us to kind of work hand in hand with projects and stuff that they're doing. Like the last one was getting to go out with like Clay Klein and Muscles and Mentors and help them kind of set their gym up that they have on the just south of the river of downtown Oklahoma City, where it's a gym for like at-risk youth. And so
Dude, it sounds like his classes are getting huge.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I think like the big thing for us too is like and I think that there's like there's always a need for stuff like that. And I think it's one of those things too, where for us, one of our big goals and one of the things that we've been preaching a lot, and I know I have been since especially becoming GM, is like, how do we grow in the community, not just the fitness community? How do we get where, from like a positive standpoint, like how do we get where even if you don't take supplements, you never have interest in supplements and you'll never shop with us, that's totally fine. But you know who we are because of the stamp that we've been able to put on the community by getting out there and being a part of things and helping with stuff. And I think that's definitely like a big goal for ours, because I do think that that's what really brings a sense of pride around like a company and a business, even if you're not necessarily involved with it. I think those kind of things are stuff that gets a lot of backing and support from the community in general.
Well, and I think if you have that mindset, right? So like that's going to be that's where the opportunity will be created, right? So like if my mindset, so like I don't know, right now we like that 7 number, and right now we're focused on the 7 number, the stores. We're trying to get defined. This is our hedgehog concept, which is a good to great thing, where the hedgehog always wins because he goes back into his hole. So he goes back to what he's good at. He knows he can be the best in the world at. and he can duplicate, right? And so that's the focus. But we want to continue to grow. I love business. I want to have opportunity to do more, maybe branch out over there, but I don't quite know what that is, because this is our hedgehog. But by constantly getting in the community, getting involved, sowing, planting seeds, the opportunities will come. Right. So today, maybe you don't know what that extra branch is, on the top of the tree over there. But by getting into the community, knowing all of OKC, you never know what opportunity is going to present itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and that kinds of stuff, is very much just supplementary to our supplement retail and brand right now too. It's like we're always looking for new opportunities, new things to, be part of the community, new things to promote, or new marketing strategies. And I think that's where we're at right now is where we are always looking at new stuff, but it's always, how does it grow this one thing still? How does it push this forward?
And you do have to be careful, right? And Doug will say that today. It's like, I am passionately trying to say no. So like, you need to know when to say no, right? Like because I want to say yes so bad. Like that sounds so cool, right? Like, but it could be a distraction. Right. It like we have something cooking way over here, and like if we don't pour into this, then like we might not ever see this one through. So it is important to not get distracted by the shiny things, right? Like, oh, that sounds super cool, but like, at what cost? Right? Is it going to cost me time, resources of myself, time, resources of my employees? Right? Like, am I going to have time, resources, and money to maybe hire out? Right? And like, can we do that? Are we ready for that? So there's this big analysis that you have to do, like when opportunities do present themselves, and you have to recognize, like, I have to say no today.
Right.
Yeah. Is this a better opportunity than all the small opportunities that I have with our current businesses?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a hard thing to do. And I think sometimes you do have to say yes, and you do have to, shut it down to then learn, right? And recognize, like, this is what we did this because, we got excited about it. We thought it could do something. It did something, but it's not kind of quite panning out the way it was. It was American Energy, right? Like, but we learned a ton, right? And never say never. Like we put ourselves in energy drink jail for 2 years. I think that 2 years has passed, and if we wanted to, we have all the resources in the world to go do a beverage.
Right.
But is it the right thing to do today? It's not, so we need more time, if, unless the opportunity presents itself, tomorrow, and it makes sense.
I think that's a big part of opportunities, as well as you see a lot of people, like, especially with like a certain industry or certain type of business is booming, as everybody's like, I got to get into that. And it's like, well, like, there's not a whole lot of strategy or unique opportunity there, where it's, you guys have, the experience, and where you could easily say, okay, here's how we're going to do it different. Is I'm a big fan of it's like, okay, like, we want to do this general thing, but we don't have a great idea on how to specifically like really stand out or like really make it successful. So you can sit on it until, like, I feel like it'll be, so I'll use this as an example, because may not be making a whole lot of sense, but we wanted to make a hydration product for a very long time, and it was a product category that was getting very popular for us, and I think it was one, because we carried a brand that was one of the first ones in the industry. It's a smaller one, and probably only people here in Oklahoma will kind of know about it. But we were selling a lot of hydration products in our stores, and it was really resonating, especially with our customers, and it was like unique, and it wasn't something like Liquid IV, like, wasn't even, when we first started selling this other brand, like Liquid IV, like, wasn't even a thing. And people were, trying and taking this product and doing really, really well with it. And it became like, really, really popular for us. And then but we also had Define, and it was like, okay, like we want to do our own hydration product eventually. But like, we don't necessarily think that we could do it like better than this other company or like differently. So, but we had some like ideas of like, maybe there's some small tweaks. And then finally there like came this moment where we were able to put a little bit more money into on the Define side of things. And the brand that we were working with was starting to go into big box stores and they were undercutting us. So it's like, okay, we can't lean on this brand anymore. And then it was when Preston came on board, and him and I were kind of geeking out on formulas, and we were like, okay, like, well, what if we made a hydration product? Like, what would that look like? Because we were just doing all these hypothetical formulas at the time. And it was like, well, man, like, we've got this one brand. We kind of, it's got like some other stuff in there that like we don't think we would include, and it's like, and it's definitely tastes pretty salty. And it was like, well, what if we just like pulled all of that and just did electrolytes? It's like, well, like, yeah, there'd still be like a decent amount of salt and or decent amount of sodium and decent amount of electrolytes, it would be, but you wouldn't have all this extra filler, and you could probably cover it up a lot easier and make it taste a lot better. And I was like, okay, like that's a good idea. And then it was getting closer to summer, and we're like, let's just order samples and see where this goes. And they came back and they tasted amazing. And we got to launch Define Hydrate. Bruce really tried to push us into doing stick packets, which is obviously very popular. But we knew based off of our current sales of this other brand that tubs move 10 times more than stick packets for us personally. So it was like, we had to really push Bruce of like, no, unfortunately, we're not going to do stick packets. We got to do tubs. And today our Define Hydrate is by far our most popular product in the tubs. The stick packet, we have stick packets now, but the tubs move so much more. Yeah. And it was just perfect timing too, because it was like right on the edge of like everybody, coming out with hydration products. And I knew you guys were really early to it as well. But it was, I don't know, it was one of those that we talked about it for like 3 or 4 years that we wanted to make our own hydration product, but it wasn't until like everything aligned that we really were like, okay, we need to go now. And it wasn't, we didn't push it. Like, cause if we would have done it early, we would have been a little bit too early for us, at least, I think.
Yeah. And I think that like, so right now I'm thinking about this hedgehog concept. So in Good to Great. And I just want to share it because, it's kind of like when these opportunities come, right? Can you ask yourself these 3 things, right? And so it's, what are you deeply passionate about? What can you be the best in the world at? And what drives your economic and resource engine? So like you can apply that even to that example, but like even in business, if I want to take a new business opportunity, is it gonna be these 3 things, or is it not that, and maybe it's a distraction because, right. Like, is it not driving my economic and resource engine, right? Is it pulling resources from what's driving my business, right? So even in the hydrate example, it's like, for that one, you said, what drives our economic and resource engine? You were like, no, it's the powder in a tub. It's not the stick pack, right? Like we know our business, and we know, so. Right.
And realizing that like we felt like we could be the best one after kind of dissecting the other one a little bit more, it was like, oh wait, no, we can and the samples came back. It was like, we feel like we made a better product. And so, I think that is true. Like that's where those opportunities kind of just come from. It's like, because it is hard, it's hard to hop into other things, and, maybe it's not something you're as experienced with, but I think there are certain aspects of business, especially with like what we do from like a customer service standpoint and stuff, that I feel like translate across most, styles or most like jobs or businesses or types of things that you can do. And so I think that there'll definitely be opportunities that will be cool. And I think that's always kind of been a big one when it came to Triad too. And we're like kind of referencing that was like, I always use this as a story. I don't know if I've told on the podcast before, but I was talking with some friends, and it was like some friends of friends who, they own a particular style of business, retail business, and they have, I think they have one location, but it is something that they've been doing for a long time. And I remember kind of meeting with them through a mutual friend, and we were all just kind of talking business. And like one of the questions that I asked was like,
I know that was going to be so funny.
It's about to start happening.
The look on her face was so funny.
Honestly, I want to see the reaction from everybody's faces.
Kaylin just walked in the most wide-eyed once she saw us sitting here.
It's even worse. So like, but like our podcast room is like a pass-through room to the warehouse. And so there's another warehouse door on the other side, but like it's the most used one because it's the most accessible. And you'll have like, I'll never forget it, the manager that runs our Statesville gym, he comes in and we got all the lights out. Spotlights are on our faces, right? Like, so it's a dark room, so he doesn't know. He just pops in. He's like, huh? And like, we just died laughing. It's so funny.
But what I was saying, like, so meeting with these guys, and they own one, and we're just kind of like talking business. And I remember my question to him being like, it was two guys who owned it, and my question to them being was like, because this particular business that they're in, there is lots of competitors, lots and lots and lots of competitors locally. I was like, well, why, like, not to be rude, but like, I'm just genuinely curious. Why do people shop with you? Like, why do they come to you versus anybody else that's, on every corner? And like, again, no offense to the guys, so I'm not naming names or anything, but it's like, he didn't know. He didn't have an answer to that question. And I just remember that like blowing me away is like, how can you not answer that question? Like, how is there like, you haven't set yourself apart then. Like, you have to be finding something. Like, you can find an employee that has worked for us for 6 months and be like, why does somebody shop with us versus X, Y, and Z something else, Yeah. And it's like, I feel like they'd have 9 or 10 answers on the spot from a 6-month employee. And it's like, it's just very interesting that like, there are people who will do stuff and it's like, man, there's like, do you have like anything unique versus the other stores? No. Okay. Do you feel like you're more knowledgeable than the other stores? No. Do you feel like your employees provide a like better service or a better environment? No. Like, is your store the nicest looking one? No. And it's like, I hate to break it to you, brother, but like, you got to have something,
right. And good for you for asking those questions, right? Like, it was the best thing that they probably needed to hear that they had never wrestled with. Nobody had ever asked them. And I get on myself sometimes because Kevin, you've called me out a little bit sometimes. Like, I just bluntly say kind of how I'm feeling. And I remember one time might have been at your wedding reception. You were like,
I knew where this story was going.
Like sometimes you say stuff and like, I'm like, fuck you, Patrick. But then like a minute later, I'm like, he's right.
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 Like, I think it was the tent for Sample Triad, and I was drunk at our wedding reception. Yeah. And I was like, I was talking.
But there's multiple instances of that where like, I genuinely care and I want you to succeed. And so I'm the guy that I am the devil's advocate in our building. Like, it is my job, and I'm just naturally this person to question, to push, to ask questions. And it's not out of what you're saying, no offense to the guys. It's not out of like trying to offend or call you out on and be mean. It's none of that. It's just like, no, I'm just pushing because I'm asking like real questions that you need to like answer. Nobody's ever asked you, right? Like, and so like, good for you for asking those questions, because I think a lot of people are scared to like offend or hurt feelings or whatever, and they're just like, oh man, like, keep trying, like it'll turn one day. It's like, no, it's gonna turn when you like wake up, right? And like, you realize you're doing this for a reason, and so far I don't know if you know what that reason is,
right?
I think I remember reading this at one point that it really clicked for me, is like, people can tell your intent. Right. That if you're doing it because you're jealous or you have it out for them and you just want to make them feel bad or look stupid or whatever, like, people will know that. But if you're doing it with intent to try and find improvements, people will usually be able to tell. There might be a little bit of, sometimes where where they get offended, and I think I'm a prime example of that. But in the long run, they can tell your intent. And I think the example story of this was there was a meeting, and the boss is carrying out like, hey, did everybody, who got their tasks done? Okay, like, pointed this person out. Hey, okay, did you get the task done that we assigned you last week? No, I actually ran into some issues. Hey, okay, we're gonna actually pull that from you. We're gonna push this to over here. And this person got really offended that it just pulled my responsibility from me and gave it to somebody else, and that was really embarrassing. But then the boss talked to that person afterwards. One, hey, how are you doing? Two, like, hey, I need you to actually start working on this as opposed to that previous task. I think this will work better, and went about his day. And it was overall like a 2-minute interaction after the meeting. But it was the employee realized that, okay, he's not doing it because he's mad at me. He's doing it because he's trying to be as efficient as possible. And he asked how it was doing, and they genuinely care about me.
That's everything, though. That's the level 3 leadership, right? So like, if a leader just said, okay, you're not getting it done, you get it done, and that's it. Well, now I've just deflated that employee. I've left them out to dry. Right. They don't have an understanding of what's going on. But a strong leader should be like, hey, we're going to pull that over here. What you just said, we're going to get you a new task. It's all good. Hey, like, what else do you need? Like, I'm going to work through this with you. Like, that's everything. And like, even for me, sometimes like I've had a conversation with somebody at work recently, and it was the next day, but I've tried to recognize, like, you have to be very self-aware. So you might sound blunt, and you might offend somebody, but I need to be self-aware that might have happened. And I didn't have the intent of doing that, but it's important for me to go the next day and be like, hey man, like, that thing yesterday we talked about, like, I wasn't trying to, I've had to do this a couple times just because, and I'm passionate, I'm intense, but my heart is full, right? Yeah. Like, it's a good heart, it's coming from a good place. So I have recognized, like, I have to like make sure that there's an understanding. So I have to go the next day and be like, hey man, when I'm talking to you and I'm asking you to do something, I'm not your direct report. So like, you don't report directly to me. So when I'm coming to you, it's like, I'm just trying to pour into you, and I'm just trying to teach you something, right? Like, I'm not mad at you. If I'm mad at you, you'll probably know, but I'm just trying to help you out. Like, I love you, and I want you to win, and I want you to succeed, and it comes from a good place. And so I've recognized that, and me and Sean Vasquez talked about it last night. Like, it's the recognition of a man to, hey, I might say this, I might do this, and it might, somebody might not receive it well. I need to either one, go back and apologize, humble myself and apologize for the way that I maybe didn't react well, or explain the why, right? So that they're not, so that they recognize and understand that it's coming from a good place,
Well, with the 10th story, I think we got him back with him coming here. We whenever we had the phone call, and Patrick was like, what is it going to be? What do you think will help?
Yeah, so we're on the phone. So one of the things I've been doing recently is like just reporting, like run into reports, right? Like, where's the pulse? Where's the business? Where's everything? So we talked about it yesterday. 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. You guys, I don't think it's a secret. You're one of our top retailers. But if you take our retail stores out of it, right? You guys are a top retailer. And so like, I'm putting in like, hey, phone call, we got the board of directors on, like, hey, so like, what if we did this? How do we continue to grow with you guys? Because, we do wells, but how do we continue to make sure it's well over years to come? And can we do this every quarter? Can we do that? What about this? And Thomas, that sounds good, Pat. I mean, that's all good, but it's you. You have to come here. I'm like, shit, he's right. I gotta book a plane. And then like, I'm like, well, what about timing? I'm like, yeah, all right, give me 2 weeks. Let me work that out.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you're 100% right. And So, and I'm hoping it's good, and I'm excited about meeting and pouring into your staff.
Yeah.
You guys have such a new staff, and that's the cool part about business is like it's not the same as it was 7 years, 5 years,
Right.
7 years ago, and you can't expect it to be, right? So you need to check in on it every year and like meet it where it is, right? And so today you guys have a lot of younger, newer generation of employees, and they know core nutritionals is important to Triad, and they are to recommend, but they don't know why. I mean, they probably know why,
Yeah.
but like
None
they
of
don't
that
know
one-on-one
They don't
connection,
know.
though.
They don't know me, right? Like they don't know maybe some of the details, and so I'm excited about meeting and pouring into that. And yeah, it's a good excuse to get here and not it be sample triad or event, right?
Right.
Like, because there's no stress of an event. It's just riding in the car with you, having
That's
really
it.
good conversations, and I think we've been talking about opportunities, like and maybe there's an opportunity after the meeting today that we get to talk about that maybe we can that you never knew was going to happen until Patrick showed up and maybe talked to you about it. Right?
You were part of Define meeting yesterday, and I put down like 6 different notes on different ideas that you brought up of like all the stuff, because we've been trying to push our Define D2C a lot, and you kept bringing up things that I'm like literally on my phone just like marking notes down as fast as I can, like trying to run meeting, and I was like, these are all like golden ideas, like things that like really make a lot of sense and I think work well for us. So.
Yeah, and I think that's everything, right? Like it's collaboration. Like we are competitors. You guys have a brand. We have a brand. You have a store. We have a store. In reality, we're competitors. We're probably more competitors on the brand side because it's going to be a global thing. Retail is more specific to local proximity. But we don't, why would we view it that way?
Right.
Right? Like there is,
No
it is a
reason.
multi-billion-dollar industry. There is a lot of room for a lot of brands,
A lot of food on the table
to win and to succeed. So how about instead of trying to like, man, screw those guys, I'm going to go, like they're going to take some of my business. No, they have really good things that they do well. We have things that we do well. They have experience. We have experience. Let's collaborate. Let's work together so that way we both win, right? Like we will be better if we work together, right? And I think there's more of that we can do. And I think coming here, I don't know if we would have been able to see it as much if we just keep doing standard operating procedures of, POs on Sunday, orders got to go out by Monday, guys. Sometimes it's the only wholesale that leaves on Monday because it's a standard, right? And it's because it's a good thing. We talked about what a blessing it is to have standing operating procedure between our brands. That means we're doing a lot of business together, so we have to have those things. But creativity is going to start getting lost because we're in a standard operating procedure.
Too caught in those procedures.
So like, let's get you out here. Let's get boots on the ground. And then like I might not be able to make sample try depending on the date. We're going to talk about all that, but Edmond's also opening up. There's another opportunity to come back out for a different reason. So I think, we're going to have not just one visit to OKC this year, but maybe more. So.
Yeah. And all that because, we got all this benefit of you coming out here, I think on both sides. And all it was me and Thomas just tricking you because we missed you.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I don't care about any of the other stuff. All right, boys.
I really want to get the family out here.
We do got meetings starting. We're a little late. So, Patrick, thanks so much for coming out, dude. We love you. We love everything you stand for, everything you do, man. You're such an asset to us. Just talking business, all the things like, man, we can't thank you enough for coming to Define meeting, just all the input and things that you have. Like we love having somebody with so much experience in the industry and such like a good view of things. You always come and gas us up a little bit and make us feel good. And we just love having you, man.
Thanks, man. I love being here. I love y'all.
Yeah.
Especially
like I said, I want to get the family out here. Like we are not just single men anymore. We have wives, we have kids, and like there's a connection here for me. And like I want my family to also enjoy it. So
absolutely.
I might talk to Sean last night. Might just start towing my camper out here.
There you go.
Parking it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Connecting to a sewer line.
Yeah. Sean's got a little land. He might let you park that thing there.
It's happening.
All right. Episode 69.
Episode 69.
Let's go.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.